Hello everyone, it's Dio from Firm But Fair Gaming, bringing you another Diablo 3 video. Welcome everybody. Today we are going to be doing another Set Dungeon video. Before we get to that, I do want to do a quick shout. We are getting pretty close to our 3K sub mark that we've been trying to get to, so we appreciate all the subs we've got so far. If you're not a sub, please hit the button. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, all that. We appreciate making these videos for you guys, and we love all the questions and comments. So thank you very much. Now let's just jump into the video. So we are going to be doing the set dungeon for the Akkhan set on the Crusader. For those that are unfamiliar, a set dungeon it's part of the seasonal journey. You need to complete it and master it for your seasonal objectives. It helps you get portrait frames, the pet, and all that sort of fun stuff. For non-seasonal, it's just an extra challenge. So the set dungeon is basically a fixed rift that you find an obelisk that you can enter while wearing the set, and you get a series of challenges you have to complete in time, and you get a cool portrait for doing it as well as an achievement. So what we need to do is find where the entrance is. So of course there is the Tome of Set Dungeons, which is located in Leoric's Manor. So we just need to run here, and we're going to go to the Tome, and it's going to give us a hint as to the location of the Set Dungeon. So it is in a square type room. So we're just going to keep running until we find it. Kind of looks like that, but not quite. I was going to say I would have been quite fortunate. Sometimes it is that early into the level. Other times we really have to run around and find it, which is here. So as you can see here, it's got those two shelves. And then over here is the Tome of Set Dungeon. So we'll just click on this, get the page. The page says Alliance of the Dying Sun. The portal is in place. It lies beneath the main part of the keep. To think the armorers will walk past it every day and never know it is there. So for the actual location, so the word keep, so it is going to be in Act 3, Bastion's Keep Stronghold, and then as it talks about how the armorers walk past it every day, it is actually going to be in the town, or like in this little town here. So here's the armorers, and here's the armory. So we're going to go down into here. There's a bit of a bloodbath here, but it is actually in Leia's bedroom, which was right here, and here is the entrance. So if we just click on the obelisk here, the portal. So here is the objectives that we need to accomplish. So we got to use condemn on 10 different enemies simultaneously 10 times. Kill 150 enemies while we are imbued with Akkhan's champion. And then of course we got to kill 155 monsters within the time limit and complete both our primary objectives without taking any fatal damage. Obviously if we die in the set dungeon, we do not actually die, so for those hardcore characters, you can die in the dungeon and it's alright. Your character won't die, you just get booted out of the set dungeon and you can just go back in. Also, the game difficulty has no effect on the dungeon. It is fixed at a certain difficulty. It's really pretty light, so usually we have to go out of our way to make ourselves weaker in order to complete the dungeon. So before we jump into the actual set dungeon here, we need to change up our build a little bit. We can't get away with using the push build here in Season 25. So what I have done is the first step is I removed all my Paragon. The only thing I kept in was move speed to help me move through the dungeon. I suppose in hindsight I could have included the max wrath, but I didn't. But anyways, additionally, I removed my shoulders and bracers, so I was wearing the Auguild set, so I took that off just to lower my damage a little bit, as well as I took out my soul shard out of my weapon as it was stunning the mobs as I was walking through them, and that was inconvenient to say the least. I kept my legendary gems, which was fine, but this is the adjustment that I made. For the skills, the adjustment I made was I decided I wanted to use provoke. So this just was taunting enemies because I wanted them to stay around me. I used the too scared to run so they couldn't run away. Then of course we need to have condemn. So I use condemn with eternal retaliation. So basically this builds up into power avatar and then usually, oh, how about I hover over the right one? I was going to say that didn't sound right. So you build up a massive explosion, unleashing it after 3 seconds, dealing 1,160% weapon damage as holy to all enemies. And then I was using the reduce the cooldown by 1 second for each enemy hit because we're going to try to hit 10 enemies at once. So I wanted that off CD as often as possible. The only other change or two changes I made was I added Fist of the Heavens so that I could attack and just blow up mobs when they were outside, like after I used the Condemn and there's only one or two left. I didn't want to have to sit around and use Condemn again, so I wanted something to blow them all up. And then for the Steed charge, I used Draw and Quarters. So this is bind 5 monsters near you with chains and drag them with you as you ride. You deal a little bit of damage, but I was using that to help stack up to create the groups of 10 that I needed in order to accomplish the challenge. The last change that I also made was in the push build, I was using Iron Maiden, so your thorns is increased by 50%. So I took that off because, of course, I didn't want any thorns damage because the rift level or the dungeon level is so light or low when we get in there that the mobs were just dying to my thorns, so I made sure to take that off. And those were the changes I made, and so now let's take you through the actual run. All right, here we go. So we want to make sure, of course, so the objective is we got to kill 150 while we are imbued with Akkrats. Then we have to hit 10 simultaneously with Condemn all at once. So basically the idea is wanting to steed charge into big packs and also use the steed to drag mobs. So here I just grabbed one, stacked it up. I was hitting provoke and both Condemn at the same time to make sure that they weren't running away and they were stacking. And there's why I wanted Fisher. I wanted that one spell that would be able to just kill any straggling mobs, so I didn't have to sit around and use Condemn. So again, there's a couple left after Condemn there. And yes, I did see that there's a mob up above there, but I'm going to circle around and get that. So already we're off and flying here. We've got 4 of our 10 stacks, and we're at 60 of the 150 that we need. So I just ran forward here, popped the provoke to make the mobs come a bit tighter so I could get the 10, as we just got 11 there, and then I'm using the Fisher there. So one thing I did notice is that the Fisher, because I'd taken off so many items, it was a little bit light, but of course we still have our flail bonus. So if I needed to, I could just jump on my horse to get that increased damage. So again, just running into packs. That one was a little light. I should probably found some other mobs to drag into it, but we're still good. We're barely into this dungeon, and I just want to make sure there's nothing there. And we're already at 6 of 10 and 99 of 150. So here's a prime example of it taking a little bit longer because I didn't want to get on my steed. So, but eventually I'm going to decide that I should get back in Akkrats, pop my steed, and just finish that off. I guess I didn't need my steed on that one, but if I had jumped on my steed, I would have made that much quicker. Again, just pop and provoke, make them come on in, used Condemn, got the charge. Now we're up to 7. We're just flying through this, so just going to make quick work of this guy. He's by himself. There's no point trying to condemn him or anything like that. Actually got proc there. I didn't notice that when I was going through. So here, didn't quite get enough there. There's only 4, so do a little bit of scouting. Found a lot more. Going to bring them all close. Use Condemn. 10 perfectly right on the dot there. So there's a couple stragglers. Decide that rather than try to group them up, I'm just going to use Fisher, and because we're already at 8 of 10 and we've already got the 150 with Akkrats, I can afford to just kind of blow those up and not really worry about stacking them. Here we find another good stack, and this is going to give us our 9 out of 10, and we're just, now we have 64 monsters left. We got 2 minutes and 20 seconds, so we're just flying through here. The strategy is working well to use the horse to gather them up. We're going to use Condemn there, and only got 9, but we still got 51 left, so not overly worried about it. Drag these guys up. Find this little group. Don't think this is high enough either. Nope, there's only 5 there, but still, we still get 38. There's going to be another big stack, guaranteed. Here we go. This is going to get us what we want. Provoke, Condemn, 16 mobs there. Now we got all those complete, and now this is again why I wanted Fisher. So I just had something that we could just destroy things with. So saw 2 mobs there. We'll circle back and get those, but had seen these earlier and knew I was going to come back into them. So jump down here, provoke, Condemn, finish them off with a Fisher. We got 4 mobs left. I knew that guy was down there. Gonna kill this big guy. And then we know that the just one-shot him there. We got on our steed, so again, that's what we wanted. Use that big bonus, so we knew this guy was here, and then here's the last guy, and that's all there is to it. So now we got our achievements. So we got our Akkhan Set achievements there. We got a new banner sigil, and that's all there is to it. It's actually pretty simple and straightforward. So just to recap what we ended up wearing and what we were doing. So we wore everything except for our shoulders and bracers. We took off the All-Guild set. We took out our Soul Shard. We changed our skills to include Condemn, Provoke, Steed Charge. We added the Drawn Quarter rune. And then we brought in Fissure instead of Blinding Flash or the Divine Glare for a nuke ability to kill off stragglers. And for our cube, instead of having Belt of the Trove in there, for the bombardment, which we were using for our pushing here on this build, I changed it to the Krem's buff belt just for the increased run speed and when not taking damage. And lastly, for a passive, I took off Iron Maiden and added Indestructible, which turned out to be handy considering that I procced in there when I wasn't when I was sitting out of Akkarats. Overall, though, the dungeon was actually pretty simple and straightforward. The groups are pretty stacked, so we're able to easily get the 10 off on the Condemn, but obviously that's why we're running Drawn Quarter on the Steed in order to make our own stacks if that's not going to line up as possible. I think the route I took is the best one to do, so go forward, then circle down, up and around, and come back to the start. I think that's the best way to go about it. That was the quickest time I was able to pull off. If you have any questions or comments about the video, please let us know below. If there's any videos that you would like to see, if there's a part of Diablo where you have any questions, comments, or just things that you don't know, ask. We'd be happy to make a video to help explain anything that you may not be understanding and may need a little help with. As always, we appreciate likes, shares, and subscribes. And until the next video, I hope you're enjoying Season 25.